The NFL Combine is over, which means there is a new wave of updated mock drafts from all of the experts. And the air quotes is not shade. I just think it's hard to be an expert on something like that, just because we see draft night surprises all the time. And maybe it's something I'll do one day. But Georgia Bulldogs, I think there's going to be anywhere between 3 and 5 that go in the first round. Last year, 5 went in the first round. Todd McShay released his updated mock draft. This is kind of his post NFL Combine mock draft, and obviously a lot of things have happened with Georgia Bulldogs. Jalen Carter situation surfaced in the middle of the Combine. A couple guys really went off and had great combines. Georgia's pro days next week, so we'll get to see a lot of them work out again. And then do some different things. I'll be there, bring you guys all sorts of coverage for that. And, this particular mock draft from Todd McShay was surprising to me. Just kind of where he had the Dogs going. It was just a little bit shocking, I guess. I just don't see the draft going this way. I could be wrong. But it's just a little bit shocking. I want to talk about it. Hey, make sure you're checking out Double Dogs. I'm getting my copy today. I think some of you guys have already gotten your copy. I've straight up not seen it, so I'm jealous. I'll see it here in a couple hours. Make sure you're going to the Red Zone. I also need to make a trip to the Red Zone today for my father. You get cool swag like this that you're not going to find anywhere else. And there are very limited copies. If you can't figure out how to click the link down below and order it, there are limited copies, very limited at the Red Zone. I'm sure we'll have more there in the future, but there's really not that many there. If you want to physically go and buy it, that is an option as well. Ryan Curley from Dog Post here talking about the NFL draft. Let's talk about where McShay has these Dogs going. Top 10, he's got all sorts of trades going on. So he's got Bryce, then CJ going 1 and 2. I think that's realistic. It could be Anthony Richardson all of a sudden. So assuming that a QB goes first and second, that there's a freak out about QBs, and that they go first and second. The first, barring a trade, the Cardinals at 3. If the Cardinals are at 3, the assumption is Jalen Carter, Will Anderson. Well, he's got Will Anderson going here, right? Will Anderson had a good combine. He's a very productive and a very talented pass rusher. He's got Anthony Richardson. He's got Tyree Wilson going. And then all of a sudden, there's a bunch of defensive players going before he's got Jalen Carter going, right? He's got Jalen Carter slipping because of what happened, but he's got another dog going first. He's got Nolan Smith to the Falcons at 8. I think I made a Nolan Smith video last week, and there were a couple comments about this. He's going to be a big riser. I don't think Nolan Smith's going to rise in the top 10. I don't think so. I think Miles Murphy's kind of a faller, and I think he's taken that spot, but I suspect that Tyree Wilson, the edge rusher from Texas Tech, will go before Nolan Smith. To me, I think is going to be the third edge rusher up the board behind Tyree Wilson and Will Anderson. I don't think the Falcons are going to go for him. I don't know. I would be surprised. I think Nolan Smith cemented himself as a first rounder with what he did at the Combine. Very impressive. The 40 time, the vertical, everything, the broad jump. But I don't think he's going to go top 10, just because I think that there's going to be a run on quarterbacks in the top 10, and I think that I disagree with. I don't think Jalen Carter is going to fall. I just don't think he's going to fall. I think that this stuff's going to get addressed. For Jalen Carter's sake, I hope that, whatever happened that night, whatever lessons he needed to learn that have been learned, and for his sake, I hope that this pre-draft process goes well for him outside of this, and that he doesn't fall. He's losing a lot of money as well. He's got them falling to number 12, where he's got the Texans in some trades, so he's got Jalen Carter falling to 12. I just doubt that. Listen, Jalen Carter is the best defensive player in the draft. He is. Most people, I think that the consensus is that he's the best defensive player in the draft, unless you think Will Anderson is. So I have a hard time thinking that Will, Nolan, Tyree Wilson, Christian Gonzalez. I just have a hard time seeing 4 other defensive players go before him in the draft. I have a hard time seeing that. Let's see what he says about Jalen Carter. I'll start by stressing that Carter's draft range is an unknown right now. He was arrested last week on charges of reckless driving and racing in connection with a crash that killed the teammates. No one I've spoken to around the league knows how it will impact his stock or what comes next. It's likely Carter will fall a little bit, but we don't know how far, so take this projection with that context. As for the fit, then he goes into the fit. Jalen Carter might slip. If he slips out of the top 10, I'd be shocked. He's too good. I just would be shocked. I'd be shocked. I really would. I have a hard time seeing the Falcons pass up on Jalen Carter at 8. It's so hard to get a good inside guy like him. And then he's got Broderick Jones at 13 to the Jets, right? Jones, exactly what happened. I said he was going to, it wasn't some secret. He tested really well at the combine because he's a really physical player. And I think he'll go in the top 20 picks. I think, his workouts, his interviews, he's going to just continue to rise a little bit. So I expect him to go in the top 20. Now, some of the other shocking things about this, that's it, right? He doesn't have any other Georgia player in this draft. He's got 2 tight ends going in Dalton Kincaid from Utah, who I think is a really good tight end, to the Cowboys at 26. And he had Michael Mayer going somewhere else. He had Michael Mayer going 15th to the Packers. Darnell Washington is getting comp to Rob Gronkowski now. And no, the production's not there, but he was not utilized, right? Tight ends don't often go in the first round. You get a tight end here and there that goes in the first round, and usually they are guys where it's that guy's just going to be a stud at the next level. I think Michael Mayer and Dalton Kincaid are really good tight ends, but I just think Darnell Washington brings you more value. Kyle Pitts was that generational tight end guy. Darnell Washington is a freak. I think he had the most impressive combine. Now, I think combines sometimes are taken too seriously, but I think that Darnell Washington's probably a first-round tight end. I don't know why you wouldn't want that guy on your team. And then he doesn't have Keely Ringo going in the first round. Keely Ringo was getting projected top 10 a while back. His combine wasn't as impressive as people thought it would be. Some other guys tested just as well. Keely Ringo is a freak of nature in the defensive back. I just expect him to go first round. I do. I think Georgia's going to have 5 first-rounders again. I really do. Who's the most likely to slip out the first round? I would vote Darnell Washington, I think. But Nolan Smith, I think, cemented himself as a first-rounder. Broderick Jones, I think, cemented himself as a first-rounder. Jalen Carter falling out of the first round would be the biggest fall of all time. And I think Darnell Washington and Keely Ringo, there's just other corners that have risen higher than Keely Ringo, and that's a problem for Keely right now. Pro Day, we'll see if he can improve any of it at Pro Day. I don't know the list of who all is going to be working out there, but I assume he is. Darnell, to me, was always the least likely guy to go in the first round outside of Nolan Smith, because Nolan Smith I thought was a second-round guy, but his combine, I think, cemented himself as a first-round guy. So this one kind of shocking to me. I just think that you have to talk about Darnell Washington when you talk about Dalton Kincaid and Michael Mayer. I know their production's much better. I know they're great pass catchers, but I think Darnell Washington can bring more to the table for you. And the Keely Ringo thing, the physical talent, he's going to get swiped up, and if he goes to the right team that coaches him up, he's going to be a problem as a defensive back, whether he's playing corner or safety, because a lot of people think he's playing the wrong position. But this mock a little shocking to me, a little bit surprising. What do you think? Down below, you know what to do, you know what to grab. See you at the site.